It's the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. How did the Celtics win this series? How does Miami win this series? How I think it will go. And Miami fans, if you're watching, you're not going to like it. It's right now on the Lockdown Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in locked on after. Karalis on the breakdown, clutch like a tip from D White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Lockdown Celtics podcast, right here on the Lockdown Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts like this one, when things need to be said on the weekend, like this preview of the Celtics and the Heat. When the Celtics play on a Saturday, I'll give you obviously a podcast after every playoff game. I've given you podcasts after every game this year, but that one against Charlotte, that very end of the season. That was my one reprieve. That was my one get out of jail free card. But I got you covered with more podcasts, more coverage than you're going to get anywhere else. If you're new to the show, my name is John Karalis. I used to play a long time ago. Now I'm covering the Celtics as a beat writer. I cover the team for the Boston Sports Journal. I'm at the practice facility. I'm in the locker room. I'm talking to the guys. So this is a level of insight that I hope surpasses other podcasts. And maybe, I just want to make your experience here better. You'll notice today that I'm by myself. I was trying to get the Locked On Heat guys on here, but they are ducking the smoke because they know later on I'll talk about how this will go. And I can tell you, I don't think this is going to go very long. I don't think the Celtics have anything to fear for people who are suffering from PTSD, who might be sitting there going like, oh my God, it's Miami again. They did this and they did that and blah, 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 blah. No. Easy. Everybody take a breath. In and out. Flush those toxins out. Flush out that PTSD. This series is not going to be influenced by the Celtics of the past, Celtics Heat of the past of last season. This is this season, and I'm going to explain it all. In the second segment, I will give Miami their due, right? Because they are a playoff team. They made it, and we don't know how this series is going to go. One thing that Joe Mazzulla has been very clear about, we don't know how things are going to go. I was there at practice on Saturday. He talked at length, and he said, basically, we're ready. We're prepared. And that doesn't mean game one is going to go well or that it won't go well. We don't know. And that's a healthy approach. And that starts me into how Boston wins this series. Number one, how Boston wins this series mentally, upstairs. They win this game upstairs in their heads by coming out, as I've said on this podcast multiple times. Maybe you're going to get sick of me saying it, but methodical and ruthless. That's how the Celtics win this series and how they win the championship. Come out. Don't get caught up in, yes, we got the Miami Heat. I can't wait to teach those guys a lesson. We owe them one. No, don't get caught up in that. Get caught up in, it doesn't matter who is in front of us. That's what the Boston Celtics mentality should be. It does not matter who is in front of us. They happen to be wearing black and red jerseys with Miami or Heat culture or whatever they have on there. That's what they're seeing. Just march right through them. See what's in front of you, beat what's in front of you, and that's it. Don't get caught up in the past. Don't get caught up in the future, right? Congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You won an ugly game against the Orlando Magic. Don't get caught up in, maybe we're going to Cleveland or maybe we're going to Orlando or whatever. Now, the only thing the Celtics have to worry about right now is the first quarter, the first minute in game one, Sunday at 1:00 on ABC. By the way, if you're in Boston in the Boston television market, I will be on Channel 5 pregame show. So if you want to tune in to get my thoughts pregame, I will be on Channel 5 pregame, postgame. So I will be lending my voice to that. So make sure you're tuning in to that. The Celtics have everything that they need right in front of them. So mentally, if you come into this with the clear mind, if you come into this with that mentality of accept how this game is going and give the game what it needs. Maybe Miami does come out on a 20-2 run. Maybe they come out hot. Who knows? If they do, it's okay. It's all right. If they come out hot, just how do you shut off the water? How do you get them to, how do you answer their run? How do you shut it down? And how do you start making baskets? And if you come out hot, it's how do we maintain this? How do we accept that Miami is going to make a run? They will throw a shot. As much as you and I would love to see 48 minutes of domination, tip ball, Kristaps Porzingis wins it, fast break right away, boom, it's a dunk, and the Celtics go on a massive run and win this thing by 40. We'd all love to see it, except for the Heat fans who hate watching this show. But that's not how it's going to go, right? Miami, we can, I don't think Miami is very good. Miami is, without Jimmy Butler, it's going to be very difficult for them to guard the Celtics. But they are going to be prideful. They are going to throw some tricks. They are going to test the Celtics mentally. They're going to test the Celtics' toughness. They're going to throw shots. Kristaps Porzingis, we asked them about that on Saturday. He's going to be like, look, they're going to get handsy. They're going to do the dirty things. And he didn't mean dirty like they're going to try to hurt you, but like they're going to do the little things to try to annoy you. Little elbows in the kidneys, right? Little shots, little grabs, little pulls. They're going to try to get you out of their game, out of your game and into their game. They're going to try to drag this game into the mud. So this isn't about, hey, move the ball and 30 assists and all that stuff. Yeah, move the ball, of course, right? But don't fall for Miami's tricks. Don't fall for the little things that they need to do to muck up the game. They are not good enough. They are not at Boston's level. So they have to drag Boston down to their level. That's how the Celtics get into trouble. So the Celtics execute, right? What's Miami doing? How are they getting into things? Are they grabbing and holding and there's no calls? All right, well, match the physicality, right? Go right at them and force the refs to blow the whistle, right? Go to the basket, play off 2 feet, get to the rim, and let's see the refs blow the whistle. Let's get to the free throw line. It really, a lot of it depends on how Miami is defending Boston. Without Jimmy Butler, it really takes away a guy that can, and you can't do this against Boston as much, but who would roam and you see him get steals and getting breakaway dunks. That's not really going to happen with the personnel that Miami has. They're going to have to try and junk it up. They're going to try a zone. They're going to try to throw a little zone look, a different zone look. Maybe they throw out a bio at the top of the zone instead of on the back of the zone. Maybe they do a little something different. Maybe they play a 2-1-2. Maybe they do a box on one. Maybe they do a triangle and two. Like that's all in the mix, right? So the Celtics have to just read it, figure it out, respond. If they go zone, it's Porzingis. I watched Kristaps Porzingis practicing high posts, getting behind the zone, getting into the middle, and taking those jumpers. He is the human zone buster for the Celtics. He is going to get in there at the free throw line, at the nail, which is right in the middle of the free throw line. We like to call it the nail. And side note, why do you call it the nail? Because that's where they actually literally had a nail at the middle of the free throw line, and they would tie a string to it to measure out all of the measurements. That's why they call it the nail, by the way. So you put Porzingis at the nail or at the elbow, get him into the middle of the zone. He's so dangerous there. It's going to collapse the zone, kick it out. And you're just going to bury them with a lot of three-pointers. They're going to hope that you miss a lot of three-pointers. They're going to say, hey, Holiday, you've had a sketchy-ish three-point playoff performance history. Let's test that. So Boston is going to win by just playing the right way. It's all about Boston. This is not about Miami. If Miami goes zone, you go zone. That's fine. If they go man, if they blitz, no problem. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, read it. If you get blitzed, give the ball up, right? Then you can get it back later. Give the ball up. If it's a zone, you get it to Porzingis in the middle. You get it to Tatum in the middle. You get it to Horford in the middle. If they do something else wonky, read it, figure out where the gaps are, and just attack it. It's not even about scouting the Heat. Boston wins this series and wins it easily, mentally upstairs, by focusing on the present, not the past, not the future, by focusing on the present and just taking what's there, exploiting what's there, and playing their game. There's nothing special about this series for Boston. How does Miami win this series? You heard me start talking a little bit about it, but let me get into how Miami wins this series in just a second. Today's episode of Locked On Celtics is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. Like the 2024 Nissan Rogue, it's perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store, it's all built right into a 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Armada, which I got to see in person, and it is a beautiful car, and it'll change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style, and they mean it, first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day, even this bonus podcast. Go check out Locked On Sports today. Turn off the major networks, Fox Sports, ESPN. They're just fake arguing. We're talking about real stuff here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So go check it out. Locked On Sports today, free 24/7 on YouTube and on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. How does Miami win this series? So first thing I told you before, what the Celtics have to be careful about is dragging this into the mud, dragging this series into the rock fight, right? The grabbing, the pulling, the fouling. The refs are going to be letting a lot go. They are going to test the limits. They are going to test what the refs are willing to call. And they're going to test the theory of you can't call everything. So be ready for that, Boston. Number one, frustrate the Celtics, right? Draw them into the bare knuckle boxing, because the Celtics are not bare knuckle boxers, right? If anything, they're like the Sugar Ray Leonard pretty boy, Floyd Mayweather, just bap, 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 run away, counter punch, outrun your opponent. That's what the Celtics mostly are. The Heat, they want to get into, they want to break a bottle over your head. So that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to out-tough the Boston Celtics. They're going to have to crash the boards. One of the things the Celtics have to absolutely focus on throughout the playoffs, but this is going to have to be in this series as well. Box out. Now, the Miami Heat are not the biggest offensive rebounding team. They are, where are they? I just had it. 24th in the NBA in offensive rebounding percentage. So they're not typically going to crash the boards. But if they send a little something extra, because again, this is going to be a little bit of desperation for them. They're not whole. I don't know if Terry Rozier is going to play or how he's going to look if he plays. I don't know if Duncan Robinson's going to play or how he's going to look if he plays. The Celtics have a lot to exploit defensively. So what Miami's going to have to do is make up for that by just doing the math, right? You're going to have to do the math and get more shots. You have to get more shots if you're the Miami Heat. So if you look at the box score and Miami takes 100 field goal attempts and Boston takes 80, that's not the best news in the world for the Boston Celtics. That's not the best news in the world for any team, but that's where Miami needs to be. They need to be getting 2-3 cracks at offensive possessions. They need to get themselves, though, because they're not the best offensive team. So they're going to have to find ways to generate extra looks. So they're going to have to crash. And that's why I said like the zone. I don't know if the zone is going to be how they beat the Celtics. They're going to have to get funky. It's going to have to be blitzes and rotations behind it. It's going to have to be just pestering. They're going to have to try to turn the Celtics over. If the Celtics can protect the ball, rebounding and protecting the ball, if they protect the ball, I think they'll be okay. Now, Miami is middle of the pack in forcing turnovers. Their opponent's turnovers are 13.7 per game. The Celtics are one of the best in turnovers. They're number one in turnover percentage, just 12.1% turnover rate. And overall, they are number one in the league. They moved up to 11.9 is just barely the best over the Philadelphia 76ers. That has to continue, right? That has to continue. I'm not worried about them turning Miami over. Box out. Miami's going to miss shots, right? You can help off of Jaime Jaquez. You can help off of Nikola Jovic. You can help off of some of these guys that are going to step in. If they go with the same starting lineup with Jovic and Jaquez, that's a rookie and a second-year player, a non-shooter in Jovic especially. Jaquez can hit somebody's 32% on the season. Bam's not a three-point shooter. So you can kind of help off of those guys. Don't overreact to them, but for Miami to win, those guys are going to have to step up. Look, Miami went up 3-0 on Boston last season, mostly because Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent went just bonkers from three, and Boston didn't. Right? That was the big thing. Boston had outlier bad shooting. Miami had outlier good shooting. Boston had lapses. Miami took advantage of those. So Miami's going to have to take it whenever Boston lets their guard down. Boom! It has to be a headshot, and that's how you stay close. And if you can stay close until the fourth quarter, then anything can happen just in general. And then you start getting into Boston's head, and you start getting the people in the arena in the fourth quarter, 15-point lead gets down to 9, and people start to worry a little bit. 7, 6, 5. Oh no, right? People start to get nervous. You get that nervous energy in the building. That's where Miami has to step up. They're going to need some luck, right? They're going to need Jaquez to get hot. They're going to need Caleb Martin to get hot. They're going to need Terry Rozier to play and hit some shots. They're going to need somebody to do something they don't normally do to win this series. Defending the Celtics is just going to be extraordinarily difficult because they just have too many weak spots. So if they play man, Boston is going to attack Hero. They're going to attack Robinson. They're going to attack Jovic. They're going to go after Hawkins. They're going to go. There are a lot of places you can attack and say, challenge you. Whether you're a weak defender or a rookie in the playoffs, they're going to challenge you to make a play defensively. And it's going to be very difficult for Miami. Boston's going to be hard to stop. Miami's best chance is getting Boston to beat themselves, like I said, mentally, and to get out there and have outlier shooting performance somewhere. Somebody on that team is going to have to do something special that people are going to like, oh, wow, this is happening again. So whatever that is, that's going to be. But Miami can play a very good game and still lose. So how do I think this is going to go? My official prediction, that's coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. If you're hiring for a small business, you want to find quality professionals, you need to go to LinkedIn Jobs because they've got the tools to help you find the right pros for your team faster and for free. I grew up in a small business. I've been a hiring manager. I know how much this setup that LinkedIn has can help you save time. It's your most precious asset as a small business owner. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. They help you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else because they have tapped into people who aren't even actually looking for work. There's people on LinkedIn who can say, I'm open to a new job. So LinkedIn users get your listing when they're just open to looking. That's a real key element here. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. You can hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. You should be one of them. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I want to say bonus podcast here on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Go let the Miami Heat folks know what you think about this series. After game one, go spam them. Go flood their comments. Let them know, represent that the Celtics are here to just wipe the floor with them. Let them know that you don't appreciate the fact that they ducked the smoke and didn't come on the podcast. This should be a crossover podcast. So go like spam their comments and show out, because they're going to be here. If the Celtics lose a game in this series, you better believe that Miami Heat fans are going to be in this comment section. They're going to be in this comment section for this show, because they're going to call me arrogant and they're going to say, you don't know what's coming. These Celtics, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, whatever. They're going to say I'm arrogant because I'm predicting a sweep. The Celtics are going to sweep the Miami Heat. I think this is a different Celtics team. Why will this go differently than last year? It's a different team than last year. Number one, I believe that Joe Mazzulla has them in the right place. Listening to the guys talk at practice, they're parroting a lot of the things that he's saying. They're buying into the number one message. We don't know how this is going to go. All we can do is be ready for however it goes. So it sounds like they're buying in. And you hear Brad Stevens talk about Joe Mazzulla. You hear a lot of people talk about Joe Mazzulla. He gets the guys on message, and they're bought into the message. And if you're bought into the message of just accept how this series is going to go, then they can ride out whatever runs Miami makes. They can answer. You lose a quarter by 36-16, no problem. You can turn it around. Very easy to win a quarter 36-16. NBA with three-pointers and all of that stuff, that's a very easy deficit to overcome. So I do think that the team is prepared mentally. I also think that personnel-wise, especially without Jimmy Butler, but just even with Jimmy Butler, the Celtics personnel-wise have answers now that they didn't have last year. They should have beaten Miami last year, but when you have Adebayo able to, you're able to put him on like Marcus Smart and have him help off of Marcus Smart, and you say, okay, Marcus, go ahead, beat us with your three-point shooting. And maybe he does in a game, maybe he does in two games. But very clearly, they're willing to live with that. Now, maybe they come out and say, we're going to try that again. We're going to put Bam Adebayo on Drew Holiday, and we're going to let him roam. And we're just going to say, go ahead, Holiday. Like I said earlier in the show, we're going to test your ability. We're going to test your mentality. What you got for us? And Boston should feed that in the first quarter, just like when Golden State played off of Jaylen Brown and dared him to shoot. Feed it, spam it. Let's go. Let's see it. So the Celtics are totally comfortable. If Holiday's open, get it to him and shoot 10 threes in the first quarter. That's fine. Make them pay for it. I think the Celtics are equipped personnel-wise to answer whatever Miami throws at them. Zone, Porzingis. Porzingis is going to be the answer. You can't stop him. He can shoot over the top of anybody. And if he draws Bam Adebayo, and this is the big thing, you have to have Bam Adebayo near Porzingis. As much as you say, hey, maybe you play him off of, Holiday, and you just help, and you have him help on Porzingis. Porzingis is going to find Holiday. And if you let him shoot, he's going to hit the shot. And once he hits the shot and you have to react to that, then it's a fake and drive or a kick, swing. Then Miami's just toast. But you have to have Bam Adebayo somehow near Porzingis, because Bam's the only guy athletic enough to get up there and maybe challenge Porzingis at the free throw line in. That's going to be a very difficult place for Miami to defend, because if you're going to get funky with it and put Bam somewhere else as a roamer and that doesn't work, now you have to keep him close to Porzingis. And when you do that, Porzingis is going to find somebody as a cutter. He's going to find somebody as a shooter. He's going to shoot over the top of Adebayo. He's going to pump fake and put the ball on the floor. If they are not helping and it's just a one-on-one, I think Porzingis can be effective. There's just not going to be enough of a defensive answer. And if you say, well, Bam, what if Bam is effective on Porzingis? Okay, no problem. Now you put Porzingis in the corner or at the hash mark, and you put Jayson Tatum in the middle of the zone, right? And you have Holiday handling the ball, White handling the ball, or Jaylen Brown, and you put Tatum in the middle of the zone and have him say, okay, we need a little bit more ball handling, a little more creation. That's your adjustment. And now Porzingis is out there, and he's a threat from three. You have to go out there and guard him. Bam Adebayo is going to have to be somewhere near him. So Porzingis, how he impacts Bam Adebayo is going to be one of the main keys. So I think whatever Miami throws at Boston, they have the answer. So there are going to be runs. There are going to be times where it gets frustrating. You Celtics fans are going to be upset at the refs. You're going to know which ref's name one of these guys. Maybe it's Scott Foster. Maybe it's Bill Kennedy. Maybe it's somebody else. And you're going to be like, oh, here we go. This guy, blah, blah. Yeah, it's going to be, you're going to have that moment for sure. But ultimately, I think Boston has answers all over the floor. Derek White pick and rolls with Porzingis. Jaylen Brown as a pick and roll ball handler, vastly improved with Porzingis. Al Horford in the mix. Horn sets. They run their favorite little horn set where it's, the two guys at each elbow and one guy screens for the ball handler and he goes, they've set a flare screen to the corner. That's going to be just that little action is going to be hard to guard because you don't know who the ball is going to. There's still going to be three options there. The Celtics have too much for Miami. I respect Miami. I really do. I respect the fact that they're even here. Many reasons to quit, many reasons to fold and say we've had enough, but they're here. And I'm not saying they're not dangerous. They are a dangerous team. They're going to play hard. They're going to fight. They're going to give you everything that they have. I just don't think that what they have is good enough to beat the Boston Celtics at all. Maybe it goes 5. Maybe it goes 5. It does not go 6. It does not go 7. I don't think this is an easy opening round series if Boston approaches it with the right mentality, which I think they will. And if they approach it with the right mentality, the rest is going to fall into place because Miami just doesn't have it. Tell me what you think in the comments section. Let me know. Come to the Garden. If you're at the Garden, you've got playoff tickets, or if you're in Miami, you get playoff tickets. I get the feeling they're going to be easy to get after Boston goes up 2-0 and heads down to Miami. They're going to be easy for you to get. So maybe, and it's a weekend, so maybe you should look into, hey, let's do Miami next weekend. Take the trip. Instead of spending a ton of money on Celtics tickets in Boston, see if you can get some cheaper tickets in Miami and spend the extra money on a hotel and go down there and sit on the beach a little bit. Take a few days, go down to Miami, take an extra, personal day, a day off, and go chill. Why not? That's what my wife is going to do. My wife became the biggest Miami Heat fan last night, just so she can come with me and be like, hey, long weekend in Miami. So I look forward to seeing you all. Look forward to seeing you all in the comments. Look forward to calm, well thought out exchanges with Miami Heat fans. Love having you here. I joke around with the Locked On Heat guys, but we just couldn't make the timing work. So I'm calling it ducking the smoke. We couldn't make the timing work out. So it's all in good fun, but still go spam their comment section, represent the Celtics like I know you can. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you are subscribed, I would love it if you shared the podcast, spread the word, tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.